Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, etc. And you can sort of see the context. Like I won a bet, I won $100. The second that Carnegie Mellon went back mandatory, I texted my friend, $100 says Hopkins this time next week, done. And he goes, I'll take that bet, and I won $100. So the second the Northwestern goes back, wash you a week later. So we all in this industry understand certain schools running groups, etc. But it just I've stopped posting on social media anymore because it would clog our feed. Just every few weeks, more big names go back. But of those who don't go back, such as Purdue, Purdue coined the term. They're proud of it. They coined the term test expected because they expect tests. So they are test optional, but 97% of those who got in submitted test scores. Then there's another category that I call test required with rare exceptions. So many of you have used the common data set. It's amazing. It allows me to make my phone calls with parents shorter who don't believe me on things. So I just pull up the common data set. I can show them all kinds of fun stats. So yeah, at Duke, this is 2023, I believe. 93% of kids sent scores. If you add those two numbers together, so 7% is going to be hooked people, other things, athletes and ED and that one famous person, etc. So that is, in my mind, test required functionally, or test required. Now, Purdue said test expected. Auburn said we're going to make our own term called test preferred, where they do tell people, to their credit, they say here at Auburn, do be advised. Whatever the sentence starting with the phrase "do be advised" is never a good sign. Do be advised that only 6.5% of students who got in last year did so without scores. So we highly encourage you to try and send good scores if you can. So that's Auburn. Now, not I mean, it sounds like this is the guy who sells tutoring trying to sell people test options. Not real. It is real some places. So my arm right here is representing the Pacific Coast. If you are in one of the three states that touches the Pacific Ocean, it is laws optional, hacky sack mandatory, like tests optional, and they mean it. Like almost 100% of the students we've tutored 8,000 kids since COVID. Almost 100% of the students we've had get into what I would call meaningful schools, like that are rank wise, that without scores have been purely in just those three states. A definite maybe in the other 47 states. And of course, famously, the UC system is SAT, ACT blind. This is not understood. SAT, ACT blind, but they want badly. Like they want it like insulin. They want to see those AP exams because when the average kid at UCLA had a 3.95, and we're not allowed to use SAT, ACT because of the lawsuit stuff, they want to see those AP scores. So like, a lot of people think that applies to all tests, not just SAT, ACT. And there's also actually technically GPA optional at Nebraska. If you have a 20, let's go. Like it's on the website, like a 20 or a 3.2 guaranteed, done. Let's go. So that's funny. Only school I know that is technically GPA optional. Now, I spoke at a conference at Clemson, and it's awkward because there's a guy in the back of the room who I'm fairly certain may have worked in the admissions office based on his big purple tie and just the vibe that he was giving off. But my slides were already pre-built and they were already in the system. I couldn't change anything. It was awkward, but whatever. So this here, not my comment, that the Facebook group that all of us in this call love to hate, Paying for College 101. Yeah, so this dad's like, yeah, it seems kind of crazy that Clemson's test optional, but in the very important column, we have rigor, GPA, test scores. Nothing is listed as important, and everything else, essay recommendations, activities, is listed as considered. So that is funny. But all the time I just bring up tables C9 and C7 for the two key tables showing this and this as far as how a university considers the score is important or not, and what percent sent it. Now, as far as who's benefiting, obviously, if you're the valedictorian but have very low test scores, it's going to help you, and you are a person that can get away with it. But also, first generation college attendees, athletes, legacies, full pay students. Certain places you can be ED. If you're ED and test optional in Tulane, we all know what that means. Is like come right in. They like FICO scores at Tulane, not test scores. And then they want to have all 50 states. They all the categories. So if you have a hook, we all know this in this call. Parents don't know it. That is who of our students who've snuck in. 2 of our 3 students who have snuck into top 25 schools are currently in the NFL. I have a signed jersey from one of them. And so, yes, their scores were not submitted, and they were exactly what you're imagining at this moment, but go them. Now, the number one beneficiary, we all know this, is just the schools. That fog of war, how they can just hide more data, the more applications, more application revenue. We look better rankings, alumni are happy, look how fancy we are now. But of course, that comes at the cost of students not really understanding their odds, what's going on, and also colleges not knowing. People are scattershotting 20 applications through Common App are we your first choice prom date or 19th choice prom date? It's just creating a lot of fog of war. It's not